Hello everyone, welcome to TGIF, your weekly roundup on all things tech. Today we are diving into an exciting new world of M365 Copilot integration. Build this month was buzzing with announcement, and as in connection with that, we would like to unpack API plugins for you. To take you on this journey and to give you more insights into it, we have our guest speaker, Bob German, who is a principal cloud advocate. Hey Bob, thank you so much for joining. This is wonderful to have you. It's our pleasure and honor to host you on TGIF.
Oh, thanks so much. It's an honor to be here, and this is a great program, so thanks for including me.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Bob, we would like to learn a lot about the new announcements that you presented during Build. And you and David spoke a lot about API plugins. It would really help if you could, throw some light on what is API plugins.
Yeah, it's actually a very simple idea. Basically, what you do is you're taking Copilot from Microsoft 365, and in addition to already being able to call the Microsoft Graph and the web and etc. to bring in information through a process called retrieval augmented generation. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of that. You can add your own web service to the mix so that you can have Copilot call into your plugin, into your web service, and suddenly it can do things and look up information inside of your business applications.
That's awesome. I think we have been speaking to our customers when it comes to extension. We are also been referring to the messaging extension plugin. So how is API plugin different from the messaging extension, and how would customer choose between them?
Yes, well, message extension was built on obviously message extension, so a feature that had been around for years in Microsoft Teams. And if you want to kind of get double duty and have a message extension and a plugin, that's a great approach. We were also able to implement it faster, and our customers are able to implement it if they already have a message extension because it's already established. These API plugins have the advantage that it's calling directly to your API, so you don't need to understand the bot framework. There's also no hard limit on the number of functions and parameters, whereas message extensions, you can have only 3 operations and 5 parameters. Okay. And finally, there's another related feature that maybe we'll talk about on a future episode called declarative copilots, and those work only with the API plugins. So it's kind of probably the direction I would go in most cases if I'm starting from scratch.
That's awesome, Bob. Is there a way we can see that in action so that customers get a glimpse into how this integration really works and the way it would add value to their work experience?
Absolutely. Let me just share my screen. So I'll start by just showing the API very briefly. So it's a consulting scenario. So for instance, if I want to get information about my own consulting work, I can call API/me. And what I'll get back is a ton of information about this consultant, their projects, the clients, everything about them is going to come back. And there's a whole array of different requests here for different things. And another thing I could do, for instance, is a post, which would maybe assign a consultant to a project. So you build a package, which we're not going to have time to get into, but I'll leave behind some information that explains all this to Copilot. And then what you can do is you can actually use it inside of Copilot. So let me show you. So the first thing that you always want to do with a plugin, and this is true also with the message extensions, right, is you go to this plugin panel and you turn on the plugin. And in this case of an API plugin, we now have something called conversation starters. So I can click try it now, and it's going to give me some suggested prompts. So let me just ask it's very handy, right? Because people don't know where to start. And so now what trade projects am I assigned to? And it's going to give me the information. And if you look down at the bottom of the screen, I'm actually showing my log files. So you can see that the API request came in, and there are my projects.
Yes,
So,
that's right.
so something that I know on one of my projects, we really need another C# developer. So let's see if Copilot can help me with that. So I'm going to say I need a Tray consultant who knows C# and is available immediately. And so it's going to do a request to API/consultants with skill equals C#, hours available is 1 or more. And I get back 2 consultants. And as it turns out, Rabia Williams is a colleague of mine who wrote this app with me and the sample.
Okay.
And Gary Trinder wrote the developer proxy, which you may have heard of, which is also useful in documenting your API. So I don't know which one of them to pick because they're both really good. So
Exactly.
let me just ask Copilot, which one is closer to the Southridge project? And you'll see now the orchestration engine inside of Copilot is going to pull the project and both of the consultants. And now it's looking up on the web and figuring out how far apart the locations are. And it's actually figured out, isn't that amazing? And I mean, imagine what you would have to do if you were writing this bot the old-fashioned way, where you're getting like intent and entities and trying to work this out. It's much more flexible, right, than you probably otherwise would have been. So I think Robbie's a lot closer. Let's go ahead and assign her as a developer on the project. And this is going to come back and it's going to show me a confirmation card. So before you do a post where you're actually altering the data, the rule is you have to ask the user, is this okay? That's good. In this case, it's actually, we don't have enough budget for 160 hours. So I'm going to just ask Copilot to change it. And it's, again, all I did was explain the API to Copilot. It's doing all this with its own kind of intelligence, right? And now there's the forecast that I want, so I'm happy with that. And I'll tell it to go ahead and proceed. And you can see now the post came in at the bottom of the screen. And I'm going to get an acknowledgement message from Copilot. So it's extremely powerful, the kinds of things you can do.
This is a powerful tool. I think this truly adds a lot of value when customers are looking for an integration from their line of business applications and their data sources. This is truly amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a real game changer for sure, especially since so many people already know how to write an API. So it's not 90% of the work in this app is probably, especially if it was a full app, it's just a demo, would be implementing the billing system, right? And now you're letting Copilot take care of all the AI inferences and figuring out the natural language.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for the wonderful demo that you showcased. And I think it's a beautiful way of bringing both worlds together. We know there's a rich data that is available in M365, and bringing the external source of data and the line of business application really makes a lot of sense to the customers today. And your demo was a true example of that. So thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks again, and hope to work with you again soon.
Wonderful. So thank you, viewers. Thank you for tuning in today. And I think this was a wonderful demo that you could truly see. And this is something that has always been asked on how we can bring our data into M365 Copilot. Stay secure, stay curious, and tune in back again in the next Friday because we have another series on the same topic. Thank you.